Hi, I'm Danny DASKO. I'm doing my book report on The Wisdom of Whores, Bureaucrats, Brothels, and the Business of AIDS by Elizabeth Pisani. Okay, so this is the author of the book that I read. This is Elizabeth Pisani. Elizabeth actually grew up having a really cool life. She got to follow her corporate executive parents all over Europe and different parts of the world, which is awesome. This picture's funny. After her first visit, though, in Hong Kong, she became hooked on Asia, and Elizabeth went ahead and got her degree in Chinese and then moved to Hong Kong to become a reporter. While in Hong Kong, she met a London boy and then ended up quitting her job and moved to London to get her master's in medical demography, whatever that meant. One of the classes that she had to take was statistics and epidemiology. She ended up loving epidemiology. Elizabeth's love for epidemiology ended up leading to her career in AIDS. Anyways, so Elizabeth's career in AIDS is basically what this book is all about. She writes about all her different experiences and all different encounters with different people that she had met while working in the AIDS industry. It was published in 2008, and I would say the intended audience probably would be people like us in a human sexuality class, or a lot of people who might be interested in the politics and different things like that, or just pretty much anyone. It was pretty interesting. I had no idea what to expect, but I ended up really liking it. The Wisdom of Whores is a hard book to summarize because the bulk of the book is all about the different experiences that Elizabeth had while working in the AIDS industry. Elizabeth begins the book by letting us know a little bit about how she got caught up in the AIDS industry and about the epidemic that was right in front of her. She then goes on to tell us the different roles that she has experienced while working in the AIDS industry, and the one that she currently focused on throughout the majority of the book was surveillance. This is one of the photos that she talked about in the book. It's called the full-on man condom, I think, or full whole man condom, and it's 3 different parts of condoms that they were giving out to people. Elizabeth's career in surveillance meant that she had to find out who it was who was most likely to have HIV. The prostitutes, drug users, specifically injectors, the transvestites/WHORES are what she referred to them as. Not only did Elizabeth have to find out who these people were, but she had to find out where they were. She had to visit them in their brothels, on their street corners, in the red light districts, at their drug corners, and many other places. Elizabeth had to work together with her colleagues and the different people that she was meeting all over the world to figure out the best way to prevent the HIV from spreading. Before the researchers could figure out how to prevent HIV from spreading, they had to understand where it was spreading, how it was spreading. This is all part of the surveillance work that Elizabeth did while working in the AIDS industry and talking with all different people that she met all around the world. Those are just a few things that Elizabeth really focused on in the book, but one of my favorite parts of the book was when Elizabeth focused on sex trafficking. Even though Elizabeth only mentions one person that she met in the book who was a victim of sex trafficking, she also admits that she can assume that many of these people might be hidden well away from her. Overall, Elizabeth believes, because of the people that she has talked to, that these girls do want to be working in the sex industry and actually do prefer it over other jobs. I think a lot of the content in The Wisdom of Whores is really consistent with what I've learned about in not only this class, but many of my other psychology classes as well. Some of the content in this book that was talked about was different genders and sexualities, just like we've talked about in our class. The book also talked about non-monogamous relationships that have many partners, and what risks there are at for spreading HIV. One of the main things that the book talked about that I thought was similar to the content that we've talked about was sex ed and the importance of condom use. Sex ed and condom use is not only important for preventing HIV, but also important for kids, and talking about sex prevents STIs and unwanted pregnancies, as well as condom use. Okay, so one of my favorite things about this book was definitely that Elizabeth Pisani is an author who has strong educational background after being in school and taking classes in epidemiology towards her master's, and then loving it so much, making a career out of it. And not only that, but her experiences that she talks about in the book are so cool, and meeting all these different people that she became friends with in the end. Definitely all that stuff that gives her total strong backup for this book, for sure. So yeah, I definitely think she has a strong background in AIDS. Okay, so not only does Elizabeth have an awesome, strong background in AIDS, but the book is totally based on scientific evidence, because a lot of the book is about the experiences that she's had while doing her research. And her research has been based on going to brothels and going and interviewing and talking with all different prostitutes and sex workers and WHORES and drug users about their problems and their HIV, and she actually has gone and tested them and like done blood tests in bars and clubs and stuff like that. The book also has a lot of bibliography resources that make it very scientifically based. I also think she definitely includes some opinions in there for sure. So I definitely think the book includes some opinions, like I mentioned as well, and some of those opinions can kind of play part in the biases that sections of the book touched on. And one of those biases that was mentioned in the book had to do a little bit with religion, and religion playing a part in like the prevention of HIV, and so that it religious leaders wanted to promote abstinence rather than promote condom use. And just with sex workers and prostitutes and street girls, like, that wasn't going to happen. They're still going to have sex, and so promoting abstinence over condom use was actually causing HIV to go up, and that was one of the things that Elizabeth Pisani was very biased on, and she was also very biased on politics too. She had strong opinions about politics throughout the book as well. Whee! Okay, so I don't know if I would recommend this book to someone. Probably. It depends on what their interests are. I wouldn't say it was a really entertaining read. Some parts for sure were, but there was a lot of like heavy statistics, and it was almost like reading a lot of different chapters on parts of studies done, and so that was partly interesting, but also sometimes that was probably one of the bigger weaknesses of the book. But one of the strengths was definitely the stories that she included, and the different experiences that she had and the different people she met seemed really cool. So, I mean, I was interested in it because I studied abroad and I went to the red light district in Amsterdam, so the whole brothels and sex trafficking and all that stuff really interests me, so that was also why part of that was my favorite part of the book. But overall, yeah, I don't know. Read it if you're interested in that. Thanks, guys.